She searched the ground for a stick or a stone to throw at her annoying brother. Triumphant at finding a short, thick branch, she put her basket on the ground, crouched down, and snuck toward the water's edge. Hiding behind a fallen tree, she rose up just enough to peek over it. A long arm extended out of the water, followed by a second. When he dove, his bottom lifted out of the water and then disappeared. Elsbeth's lips curved. When he turned around, she'd throw the branch and hit him right on the rump. Giggling, she moved closer, this time hiding behind a bush. Once again, he swam back in the opposite direction, and when he dove, she threw the stick with all her might. At the satisfying whomp, she fell to the ground laughing. There was splashing, cussing, and wild slapping as he came out of the water. Elsbeth could barely get her breath. "That is what you get for not watching over me!" She couldn't see past the tears of mirth. A shadow came across her, but she couldn't stop laughing long enough to look at him. Connor was silent, probably figuring out how to get her back. But he would never lay a hand on her. Their father had never allowed it. When pulled up by the arms and thrown over a shoulder, she sputtered, "What are you doing?" Since when had Connor gotten so strong? He headed to the water, carrying her with ease. Elsbeth bounced on his shoulder. "Connor, put me down this instant!" "I am not Connor," the man said. Then, without hesitation, he tossed her into the loch. Eyes wide, all mirth evaporated. She turned while in the air and caught a glimpse of who'd thrown her just as she hit the water. An entirely naked Malcolm Ross stood on the bank with a murderous expression. Stunned at the situation, Elsbeth was not prepared for what happened next. She hit the water hard and sank like a stone. Although she could swim like a duck, it was impossible to untangle herself from the long skirts that floated up and over her head. She struggled wildly, attempting to free herself in a rising panic. Not only had she just hit one of the most feared warriors with a stick, but now said man was probably taking great satisfaction in watching her being drowned by her own skirts. Malcolm stared at the water and waited for the woman to emerge. Bubbles came to the surface, and he narrowed his eyes. Was the minx up to another trick? Why hadn't she surfaced yet? He walked closer, ensuring to keep his distance, but at the same time trying to scan across the water to see where she was. Once again, Bubbles surfaced in almost the same location. It dawned on him that she'd been fully dressed, and no doubt the thick wool dress made it hard for her to swim. He cursed and dove in. Sure enough, she was just a few feet in over her head, with the skirts around her arms, shoulders, and head. She was struggling fiercely, so much so that when he grabbed her, it was hard to keep from being hit. He pulled her none too gently from the water and onto the shore, where both lay spent. She coughed and sputtered. He sat up and watched to make sure she could breathe. "Yeah," she sputtered. "Almost drowned me." Coughing, she rolled to her side, her body shaking with each round of hacks and sputters. "And you could have hit me in the head and done the same," he retorted, unsure why he remained and didn't leave. There wasn't time to be wasting with the woman who'd obviously wanted to kill him. "I thought you were my brother," she said breathlessly. "Besides, I did not aim for your head." Not wishing to hear anything more, he stood and pulled her to her feet. Her gaze roamed down from his face and to his body. It was entertaining that her cheeks turned a bright crimson. "You should not be here. It's my land." Her eyes narrowed. "'Tis closer to my village." Malcolm went to where he'd left his tartan, picked it up, and wrapped it around his midsection. "Go away." "Do you not want to know about Ian?" she asked, seeming to search for something else to be angry with him about. "He's your warrior, is he not?" "I assume he's alive," he began, and then decided against asking anything else. Stopped speaking. "Aye, he is, but very ill." "I did not expect he would live." "Still may not. You could see about him." She narrowed her eyes. "Instead of frolicking." "I do not frolic."